What is going on, warriors and farmers of Tamaris? The two legendary brand new infantry heroes are coming to Call of Dragons. They are overpowered as hell. All I can say is they are going to be replacing Gores and Skogul as the undisputed infantry champions in Call of Dragons. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the guide in the future. In today's episode, we're going to do a quick overview just to show you guys why you should be excited about these two commanders. Okay, warriors of Tamaris, we are entering a brand new season. The game developers have introduced two brand new legendary infantry commanders in the game. All I can say is they are broken as hell. A quick way to summarize these two commanders is as follows. Just picture a pairing with the defensive nature of Garwood and Madeline, but with the damage output of Gores and Skogul. This is what you're getting from these two new infantry. And all I can say is they are going to replace Gores and Skogul as the best of the best in the game. We're going to start out by checking out Mr. Danfel over here. This is the raid skill. It's known as Shield Strike. It says grants the Legion a shield and deals damage to the target Legion. The attack range is near, which means it's going to work with Elk Riders. Now the skill damage factor is going to be 1600, which is huge. You can use this commander with your multiple cavalry marches. He is going to be excellent. On top of that, you also get a shield factor of 600. This is like half the shield factor of Madeline. So it's impressive. You get 1600 skill damage and a 600 shield factor. This is just nuts. Just pair him up with your cavalry commanders as well and you are good to go. Moving on to skill number 2, it says, while in the field, the Legion and friendly legions behind it gain mercy for 3 seconds, every 10 seconds. Mercy, reduced range damage taken minus 20%. The effect triggers once every 10 seconds and it lasts for 3 seconds. This is going to be so amazing in the open field. If you time it properly, all of your infantry on the field, especially from your alliance, they can keep this uptime throughout the whole fight. I still don't know how this is gonna work because it says while in the field. It does not say when you enter battle. So does it mean when you get out of your city, the 10-second timer is going to start counting and every 10 seconds this skill is gonna be active? If it works that way, then your alliance can decide when to bring out this pairing so you can maintain an uptime on this skill, but we have to wait when the commanders come out and we test out what this actually means. This skill alone can be compared to the raid skill of Gores, so you're getting that over here already. This is just awesome. We go on to the next skill, Brothers in Arm. All infantry units in the Legion gain 10% permanent infantry defense bonus and 10% permanent HP. So this is some good statistic. You get 2 of the best statistics for your infantry. It is just fantastic. Moving on to the next skill known as the Halfling Fury. When the Legion casts Shield Strike, which is the raid skill, the target Legion gains debilitated and slow for 6 seconds. Debilitated takes 20% more damage from this Legion and then they slow. March speed minus 20%. Just picture all those range units who want to run away from you and you put a slow effect on them. You'll be like, come over here. You're not getting away today. Another good thing is this skill is going to work with the Berserker Frederick. So if you pair this commander with Forondil, you're going to get some nice damage on your Berserk Frederick. And then we go over to the Awakening. When dealing damage to a Legion affected by Halfling Fury, adds 1 second to the duration of debilitated and slow. This effect can be triggered once every 2 seconds. So when you trigger this ability right here, it's gonna go from 6 seconds to 7 seconds, which means you get 1 extra second of 20% march speed reduction and 1 extra second of the enemy taking 20% more damage from this Legion, which is 1600 skill damage factor. This is going to be nuts. So this is the first commander that we have on the list. He is going to be excellent with both infantry and cavalry. And there is one thing, there are 2 things we can take away from this commander. We have 10% permanent defense bonus and we have 20% permanent HP. On top of that, we have a 600 shield factor for his raid skill. To make things even better, he has minus 20% range damage taken every 10 seconds. If you have a couple of these guys running on the field, you can maintain this uptime. This is why I was saying this commander is a combination of both damage and tankiness, and I do believe they are going to replace Gores and Skogul as the best of the best for infantry. And now let us check out Mogro. Mogro is going to be complementing Danfel and taking things to the next level. So it says the attack range is near, gains lash out for 3 seconds. Meanwhile, target is branded and bruised for 3 seconds. Lash out deals diffuse physical damage every second to the target and 2 surrounding legions. Oh boy, this is crazy. And then the bruised, you get a HP reduction. Now the skill damage factor is gonna be 450 to 3 surrounding legions every second for 3 seconds. This is nuts. And a HP reduction of minus 30%. I still don't fully understand this skill because it says, meanwhile, target is branded and bruised for 3 seconds. It doesn't say, meanwhile, targets are branded and bruised for 3 seconds, which means the bruise effect might be working just for 1 legion. We just have to wait for the hero to come out and we test to see what it means. Maybe the English language over here hasn't been written properly. We just have to wait for that. So this commander can be compared to Tohar. Tohar, let's find Tohar from here. So we're gonna click this. Let's bring out Mr. Tohar in the Call of Dragons. So when you look at Tohar, he only does 500 skill damage factor every second for 3 seconds to 1 target. But this new infantry is doing 450 skill damage factor every second to 3 targets. It's diffuse physical damage, but this is some crazy skill damage factor. It is the reason I say that these 2 commanders are tanky and they get their damage from skill damage. They don't need to depend on counter attack like Gores and Skogul. With Gores and Skogul, you can block them. When you block Gores and Skogul, you prevent them from doing double ruthless and double counter attack. But with these guys, they don't need to be blocked. If you block them, the person who is blocking them is going to suffer. He's gonna take a lot of damage. And they only need like 3 people nearby to do even a lot of damage. This is just crazy. Let's keep going. Skill number 2. When the Legion inflicts a debuff upon a target via an innate skill, the effect is also transmitted to up to 2 surrounding targets. Targets are also prioritized for lash out and future effect transmission. So basically, if any of your 5 skills for the hero puts a debuff on the enemy, it's gonna spread to 2 other enemies in the surrounding radius of effect. As you guys remember, Mr. Danfel puts debilitated on enemies from the rage skill. So which means this thing is gonna be spreading out to multiple people on the field. I think it's gonna be awesome. Now when this happens, the hero skill damage dealt to debuffed targets is 15% damage dealt bonus. Effect duration 10 seconds can be reset. So this is going to be another good skill. Let's wait for the heroes to come out and then we test to see what it's capable of. And then we go on to skill number 3. This is where things get interesting. Legion infantry units gain physical attack bonus of 10% and infantry unit defense bonus of 20%, which is beautiful. So between this guy and Danfel, you are getting 30% infantry defense bonus and 20% infantry HP. It is the highest combination of statistics I have seen for infantry in the game. If you look at Gores and Skogul, they have I think 15% defense and then 10% HP. That is before the rage skill. But this guy, they have 30% permanent defense and 20% permanent HP. The reason I say they are going to be very tanky, even more tanky than Gores and Skogul and even Madeline and Garwood, because their statistic for infantry is next level. When we go on to skill number 4, it says while garrisoning a city or a stronghold, Legion has a 10% chance to increase damage dealt by 10% and HP bypass by 10%. I don't think a lot of us care about this some of us don't want our cities to get rallied, so this is not for us, but it's gonna be very, very good for those who are going to be doing garrisoning a pass and rallying other cities. This is going to be great. And then the final skill, known as the Brand of Sacred Might. When dealing damage to a branded enemy legion, deals additional physical skill damage. Damage factor 200. Effect can be triggered once every 5 seconds. So this is going to be awesome, giving you even more damage. So all I can say is these two new infantry heroes are like a hybrid between Madeline, Garwood, and Gores and Skogul. When it comes to damage, they get their damage from skill damage factor. If you are fighting on the open field, this infantry should be your #1 priority target, because you need to kill them as fast as possible. And to make things worse, they are going to be very, very tanky. They will be difficult to take down. Now, a lot of people look at infantry as being counter-attack machines in the game, but the game developers are kind of going in a different direction. They are giving us infantry who are going to slap people with hero skill damage. So these guys, they don't need to depend on other people attacking them. They are going to go out there and do the damage by themselves. All they need is 3 other enemies nearby. That's it. Only 3 other enemies, then they're going to kill them all. Now, if you block them with 3 infantry, those 3 infantry are going to suffer, because when you look at this hero skill damage, 450 skill damage to 3 targets every second, this is just nuts. So these 2 new infantry for sure are going to replace Gores and Skogul. They are tanky as hell. They have the best infantry statistics in the game. 30% permanent defense, 20% permanent HP. This is just great stuff. So if you use the skill talent tree, you can create all of these skills with the skill talent tree. The good thing is they already have the defense and the HP, which is just great. You can go in the skill talent tree and make things even great. So yeah, I am looking forward to these new infantry heroes. They are for sure going to be awesome. And one thing I really like is how the devs have made it so that the artifact give you infantry unit attack and HP. They already have permanent 30% defense, which is great. And then you get another 17% HP. Combine that with the 20 you get from these 2 guys, you're getting 37% HP and 40% attack, 30% infantry defense. This is some good stuff. And then when you trigger the artifact, you get 4,400 artifact damage to 3 targets. And then when the artifact is triggered, you get 25% skill damage for 5 seconds. This is just ridiculous. These 2 infantry heroes, they're going to be game breaking. And all I can say is they are going to replace Gores and Skogul as the best of the best in the field. Gores and Skogul depend on counter attack to get damage. You can block them and reduce their damage. But with this guy, they don't care about counter attack. They do the damage by themselves. Just put 3 legion next to them and they're gonna pay the price. Before we get out of here, let's go to all the heroes in the field. So what I say these 2 heroes are gonna be best, let's check out Gores at first, okay? So Gores gets most of his good stuff from his rage skill. But remember, when you fight an enemy, you have to go towards them, you have to build rage. And that could be maybe 4 or 5 seconds. 5 seconds is a lot for infantry on the field, which means by the time your Gores gets this kill, maybe he may have lost a lot of troops already. But you know, the 2 new infantry, they have 30% permanent defense and 20% permanent HP. That's gonna help. With Gores, the only defense capability he has is this 15% infantry unit defense. That is before you trigger the rage skill. So this is the only defense you're gonna get from Gores, 15% defense. There is no more defense here. And then when you look at Skogul, Skogul also doesn't have a lot of defense. Like apart from the rage skill, which gives you HP, you're gonna need 4 or 5 seconds before you trigger this. Skogul is only gonna give you HP bonus of 10%. So if you look at Gores and Skogul, you are getting 15% permanent defense and then 10% permanent HP. Does that compare to 30% permanent defense and 20% permanent HP you get from Danfel and Mogro. Doesn't look like it. When you look at Garwood, what kind of defense you get from Garwood before you trigger the rage skill? You're gonna get infantry unit defense of 20%, which is not bad. And then there is nothing else for defense. That is before you trigger the rage skill. And then when we check out Madeline, what is she gonna do for you? Does Madeline have any other defense or HP? So over here you get HP bonus of 15%. So Madeline has HP 15% permanent and then 20% defense from Garwood permanent. Again, the new infantry beats them in terms of those statistics. You got 30% permanent defense, 20% permanent HP. Now some of you are going to be saying Madeline has a nice shield and stuff like that. This shield is only 1200. Danfel has 600 shield plus 1600 skill damage factor, which means anyone who tries to block them is going to pay the price. So I personally think these two new infantry are going to be game breaking, and they will be replacing Madeline and Garwood as the best of the best in the game. We need to forget about looking at infantry as only doing counter-attack damage. We need to see what this skill damage is gonna do. These guys are gonna do the damage by themselves. They don't depend on counter-attack. Madeline and Garwood needs others to hit them to get damage. You can mitigate that by blocking them and preventing them from getting close to your other legions. But with these guys, oh boy, they're gonna be crazy. Make sure you target them first. Try to kill them as fast as possible. And if your alliance managed to learn how to use these Grey Mars Aegis, it's gonna be fantastic. So that's what I think about these new heroes. What do you guys think about them? Comment down below. If you're new here, subscribe for more content. I personally plan on maxing out these two guys because they will replace my Gores and Skogul. And the good thing is I like that they are the one who go out and do the damage. They are not dependent on other people attacking them. That is the one thing I like about them. And you know, you can use the other attacking artifacts in the game instead if you don't want to use the defense one. Because if you look at them, they already have 30% permanent defense, 20% permanent HP in their skill kit. So you can get away with an artifact that doesn't provide you with any defense. You can go full offense and just get attack artifact like this one. I don't know how they're going to perform, but we're gonna have to wait and see. So these two new infantries are going to be very exciting, guys. I am excited. Let's wait for them to come out. What do you guys think? Do you think Gores and Skogul are still gonna be the best of the best? I personally think the opposite. I think these two are gonna take over. If you're new here, subscribe for more content. Until then, talk to you guys in the next one. Bye bye for now.